BMW, they sold more electric cars than Audi and Mercedes-Benz combined in 2024. And there's a reason for that. BMW's EVs, they are better value than Audi's and Mercedes-Benz's. However, BMW, I still think with their electric cars, you're paying a fair bit for the badge. I mean, let's be honest, they don't have the best EV technology. They simply don't. There's better EV technology in China. Or is there? Well, the new BMW iX facelift brings out a longer range model and some pretty significant upgrades. I think people might actually consider this vehicle now, even though it does start at 75,000 US dollars and about 130,000 Australian dollars here in Australia. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. The new BMW iX, it starts quite a lot lower. It's now got a starting price of $75,000. That means it's 13,000 US dollars cheaper. Still looks a bit odd. I know some people like the look of it. I think most people think it's a bit of a weird looking car, but it's not bad. I think they have improved it. And actually the technology, the range has gotten better. BMW's EVs have been showing some promise lately with sales on the rise and plans for their fully electric lineup to make more than half of total sales by 2030. However, one model that people haven't really been all that interested in is the BMW iX midsize SUV. To be honest, I've done videos on BMW's EVs and people haven't really watched them all that much because there's been that much interest, but I think that's beginning to change. BMW has presented the facelifted iX with changes to its model hierarchy, exterior and interior updates, more range, better batteries apparently, although they don't say what they are, but they provide more range, and a 10% improvement in efficiency. In addition to that, power is up as well. Power has increased. The cheapest version of the car is much faster than what it used to be. The 2026 iX gets a refreshed range of models, including a new entry-level specification, and the models previously known as the xDrive 50 and the M60 have been bumped up to become the xDrive 60 and the M70. Very confusing. Anyway, xDrive 50 is now the xDrive 60 and the M60 is now the M70. Yeah, they have slightly more power, but not much. Anyhow, the xDrive 60 gets 536 horsepower. That is 400 kilowatt, up from the xDrive 50's 516 horsepower, 385 kilowatts, so 15 kilowatt boost. The M70 gets 655 horsepower or 485 kilowatt, 40 horsepower more than the M60. Now, to give you some context, a rival to this car is definitely in the United States, the Lucid Gravity. The Lucid Gravity, similar pricing, but the Gravity has a lot more power. It has two motors for a total of 885 horsepower, whereas the M70, the most expensive version of this, gets 650 horsepower. So a big difference there. The xDrive 60 will do the 0 to 60 mile per hour sprint or 0 to 96 kilometers an hour in 4.4 seconds. So the base model now does 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 4.4 seconds. Top speed, 124 miles an hour. That's 200 kilometers per hour. The M70 can get to 60 miles an hour in 3.6 seconds. Top speed is 155 miles per hour, which is 250 kilometers an hour. But most people care more about range. How much range does it get? How fast can the batteries charge? I think most people, probably the number one priority for them is range, actually. Well, the new xDrive 60 gets 340 miles of range. That's 547 kilometers. Get different wheels and the range changes. It's actually quite complicated on BMW's website. There's all these different wheel options and it will change and adjust the amount of range you actually get. Anyhow, the standard version, 340 miles of EPA rated range. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's about the range, similar range to what you get in a Tesla Model Y long range. That's an increase of 30 miles or 48 kilometers from the previous version. The M70, a similar range increase. It has 302 miles of range. That is 486 kilometers. That's opposed to the 285 miles of the previous version. To be fair, 285 miles for the previous version at the price it was, well, like nearly 90,000 US dollars, was a bit of a joke. And that's probably why people weren't buying them. Now, those those range figures are EPA. That's not WLTP. So they are achievable range figures that you'll actually probably get in the real world. That said, it still is significantly behind the Lucid Gravity in terms of its range. And yeah, there's some other cars as well now you can buy that have more range than this does. However, that is a pretty good improvement, I think. Now, there is a third model that will be called the xDrive 45. That's the cheaper version, and it gets 402 horsepower, 300 kilowatt, and 312 miles of range, 502 kilometers. It can do 0 to 100 in 4.9 seconds. Now, this is the model that I think will sell the most by far of the three different versions. It's going to be much cheaper, but it does have a slower charging speed than the other models. However, the price will be $13,000 cheaper than the xDrive 60, meaning it starts at $75,000 US dollars. And there's a $1,200 destination fee. Anyway, it ends up being about $76,300 US dollars. You can probably get a deal though already, I'm going to guess. So what about the changes? Well, the exterior design looks the same, still a bit odd looking. Apparently the grille illuminates itself now, if you're into that sort of thing. Now, there's a few little changes on the outside, very, very minor things. So not stuff even worth, to be honest, really talking about. What about wheel sizes? Well, the iX comes standard with 20-inch wheels, but you can option 21s and 22s, but then of course you're going to get less range. In fact, you can option whatever wheel sizes you want, 21s, 22s, 23s. If you're willing to pay for it and you're stupid enough, BMW will take your money very happily. Of course, remember, you're going to have to pay for bigger tires. You're going to get a worse ride quality. You're going to get less range. There's really no positives to getting bigger wheels. Anyhow, the interior is nice. I've got to say, I'm a fan of the interior. It gets BMW's operating system 8.5, but other than that, no real changes. The most significant change inside the 2026 iX is the addition of the new M multi-function seats. They're standard on the top of the line M70, but to get these enhanced seats on the xDrive 45, you've got to pay for an M Sport package, and that's many, many thousands of dollars more. So you probably wouldn't want to be doing that. But anyway, apparently reviewers say these seats are really, really nice. They come in a variety of materials. You can choose microfiber, Sensitech. You can get natural leather. You can get Castania natural leather. Yeah, plenty of choices if you're willing to pay. Now, looking at that interior, guys, speaking of buttons, not a lot of buttons on that interior. In fact, very few buttons on that interior. But there are some buttons, as you can see, near the driver's armrest. So that does give you some access to things so you don't have to touch the touchscreen while you're driving. I think that's a nice feature. Personally though, guys, in general, I think the interior does look a bit odd. Having that big screen sort of slapped on the dashboard, it kind of looks like an afterthought. It's not really integrated into the dash. For me, my Xpeng G6 car, the screen feels like it's been integrated into the front dashboard much, much better than this has. Anyhow, there have been some other changes. Now, it actually has a new, more efficient heat pump that allows waste heat from the drivetrain battery and surrounding air to be used to warm the cabin. It can also be used to warm the iX battery and driver system as another way of extending the range of the iX. There's a new climate comfort package, which gives you stuff. You get heating for both the front and rear seats. Crazy, you've got to pay for a package to get heating for front and rear seats. It gets a heated steering wheel and a heated armrest. Additionally, it incorporates a 4-zone automatic climate control system, allowing each passenger to customize their preferred temperature settings independently. Now, guys, just a tip here when you drive your EV, if you want to get more range and it's cold, use your heated seats instead of your heater. Or lower, put your heater at a lower temperature than what you want ideally, and use your heated seats to keep you warm. That's one strategy. It'll get you more range. So the prices are, well, I think are actually not too bad. $75,000 for the cheapest model. The mid-spec xDrive 60 is $88,500. And the top of the range model, the M70, is $111,500, plus an additional $1,200 fee. So when can you get these vehicles? Well, apparently production will begin of the 2026 iX at BMW's plant in Germany in March of 2025. So this is a German-made car. I don't know if you think that's a good thing or a bad thing or whatever, but it's made in Germany. So yes, you'll be supporting Germany's crumbling automotive industry if you buy one of these electric cars. That said, charging speed. Charging speed is 195 kilowatt for the most expensive version for 112,000 US dollars, and the mid-spec version as well. The cheaper version is 170 kilowatt. To me, that's a little surprising when you can get EVs that are half the price, that can charge much faster. For example, I think the Xpeng G6 is 290 kilowatt. Tesla's 250 kilowatt that are much cheaper. But then you've got Chinese EVs that can now charge. Some of them can charge at 600 kilowatt, and there's going to be a range of new cars. One of the rivals to this car is like I mentioned before, the Lucid Gravity that charges at 400 kilowatt. Cars like the Kia EV9, 350 kilowatt. So, I mean, I think BMW's made a nice car, but when it comes to technology, it's still not quite up there with the best. And considering the price is still fairly high, personally, I don't see this car as being all that desirable. It doesn't actually interest me at all. Now, I'd prefer it to an internal combustion BMW, but to other EV options, I don't think it's the best choice in this segment. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Bye-bye.